What's happening, everybody? I'm Steve, and welcome back to the House of Kayfabe. And before Brother Brian gets into today's video, I would like to remind you all that if you like what we're doing and you want to support us, we're new on YouTube. Please give us a like, a comment, and a share. Also, hit that subscription bell and hit the subscription button and the notification bell so you'll always be notified on new videos. And if you really like what we're doing, we also have existed in podcast form over the last year and a half, and that link is in the description as well if you want to see the rest of what we've been doing. We've got interviews with Ricky Morton, Kevin Sullivan, we got Jim Cornette coming up. And take it away, Brian.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the House of Kayfabe, and we are here talking about the recently released. That's right. The WWE has released a ton of people, and we just found out about it. We've got Rich Quick, Stephen Barker, Adam Harris, and Matt Mullins all here to discuss this list of the recently released. I'm kind of, well, it's like on one side, I'm shocked. On the other side, I'm used to this stupid shit, these stupid decisions. I'd like to get into that, but let's just, I guess, pull out the list and get started.
I mean, but really, there's not a moneymaker other than one on this list.
I don't agree.
I don't know if I agree with that. There's a couple moneymakers.
There's one. It's Keith
There's
Lee.
a couple. What about Karrion Cross?
Hold on, let's get into the list.
Let's get into the
list.
Somebody pull the list out. Who's got the list? You got the list?
I got
it right here.
All right, go on. Who's the first person on this list of the recently released?
Frankie Monet.
Frankie Monet.
Taya Valkyrie.
Yeah. She should have no trouble landing on her feet.
Should just go back to Mexico. Should just go back to Mexico.
I wonder what that means for John Morrison.
Is that his old lady?
That's his wife, yeah.
Oh.
Next is Ember Moon, who, has been hot or cold for me. Like, I feel like she's had some good matches, but never had great creative. That character has never really hit home for me. I don't know what you guys think.
Finisher was always a hit for me. I loved her off the top rope flipping Stone Cold
The
stuff.
Eclipse is what it was called.
Beast
it was great. She was trained by Booker T. She had great upside. They just used her wrong.
I agree.
She had a good look for sure.
She had a great look, and it's like they went, we got one half African American girl in Sasha Banks. That's all we need. Ember Moon could have been like that. It's speaking business wise. Ember Moon could have been somebody. She had a great look. She was a great wrestler, and she was a person of color who could appeal to a demographic that is not currently watching.
So you're saying this is a redundancy cut.
And she's talented. She's got talent. And the most important thing, people liked her.
I thought her going back to NXT was a good move, honestly.
Sure.
So I'm surprised that she's cut, but we can keep going if you want.
All right, who's next on this list?
Scarlett, which is a big one. You would think there's money there.
I never thought that they would release Scarlett because I felt like that she was built for Vince McMahon. And I thought
really was. I mean, she's perfect for the WWE. And how do you not make money with Scarlett Bordeaux? How do you not?
I mean, are you on her Instagram? They're making money. They were making money there. I mean, she was basically a model. She hasn't been on TV at all. She was an underwear model for WWE. Her Instagram's been very active. But when was the last time she was on television?
Before Karrion Cross came to, before they screwed up Karrion Cross, which we'll get to later.
Right.
But Scarlett Bordeaux, and I'm exactly. It makes me wonder whether there was a personal issue, because there was no reason why. Because Karrion Cross's gimmick worked so well in NXT with that entrance, and with Scarlett
her,
being with her, and then they bring him up and screw him over. So I'm like, did she do something wrong? What happened?
Like I said, they were always releasing pictures of her. You know what I mean? Like that was her. That was the only reason that she existed in the WWE universe for the last couple of weeks, was for cheesecake pictures sent out on Instagram.
Well, to be honest, we've got to talk about Karrion Cross here, because Karrion Cross is definitely connected to Scarlett. How do you get Karrion Cross? He's awesome. You put him over as awesome in NXT. He gets to the main roster. You dress him like a character from a movie, and then you release this guy. For what reason? Why would you not see value in Karrion Cross?
I mean, maybe he can go back to Impact and be killer again, but
that'll be a plus.
Part of me thinks, and we can get into this later, but part of me thinks that like all these people are getting released because people think they're competition with WWE now. So you release all these people in hopes that AEW or Impact will sign them, and then run out of money. Like all these places are like willing to spend money to get wrestlers now to compete, and WWE's like
plan.
Yeah,
I don't think WWE cares that much. I don't think they're worried at all. I mean, AEW's numbers are tanking. They're big time tanking. If you keep up with that,
you're wrong. I think
you're wrong. I mean, dude, there's empirical evidence that 100,000 less people watched last Wednesday than the Wednesday before.
I don't think you're wrong about the numbers, but I think you're wrong about the WWE being worried. I believe that this is a strategical move. I just wasn't sure what the strategy was, and you just put a theory together of what the strategy is. The strategy could possibly be to run the bank account of these other promotions.
Yeah, I misspoke when I said worried, but yes, you put it correctly. They're just trying to outlast because, or run out the bank accounts of these other companies.
But they wouldn't be coming up with a strategy unless they were worried.
Yeah, they're not worried. I mean, Impact exists for that mother company to show a loss. That's all Impact is. Impact is a tax shelter. It's what Ring of Honor was with Sinclair. And then it shows that they eventually lost $12.5 million on Ring of Honor. But Impact is not supposed to make money. The billionaire business that owns it, it's a tax write-off. That's all Impact is. It's the only reason it exists.
Well, there's the rumor that Impact's about to get a deal with ESPN. That rumor is going around. So we could see Impact take a big step toward doing something again. At one time, we thought Impact was going to do something, right?
Oh, yeah.
No.
Yeah, especially when Matt Mullins. No, when I heard Matt Mullins on Impact, I went, this place is going someplace. It's going somewhere, baby.
No, I'm glad that exists because our own Matt Mullins does have a theme song that appears regularly on Impact, our beloved Heath. And I do dig that. But guys, it's Impact.
It's getting better with fans back in there, I believe, and I think that they're going to continue to build reaction on the Impact. But I also think when we hear about all these releases that the door is always open with WWE. They can always renegotiate. Who knows what these guys were signed to, what the level of contract some of these people had. I imagine a few of these aren't as large as Karrion Cross. So it's maybe less likely we see them come back, but I feel like the door is always open.
Well, I mean, I think a lot of this might be because, it's like they're trying to build up their value. I wish Stephen P. New were here. He could explain it better and probably correctly, but they're trying to build up their profit. So, because they're about to sell, I still say that. But if you release all these people, that's how much money that you can say that you didn't lose, or like that you can attribute.
Saved.
Yeah, that you saved.
So after Karrion Cross.
But do you think with people like Karrion Cross, do you think that part of it is Vince McMahon seeing if they have backbone? Like, hey, we're going to make you a fucking Power Ranger. And if you just go along with it and if you don't stand up and say, I don't think this is a good idea, do they just let you hang you out to dry scenario? Like, I think that happens sometimes.
Okay. Has anyone read the latest Jericho book where he tells the Kofi Kingston story? Okay. No. So Kofi Kingston, they're on they're on the plane with Vince, and I don't know what era this would have been. I think this was a light up jacket Jericho. And Vince makes a joke to Kofi and says, "You're never going to get over big, kid." And so they get off the plane, and Jericho's like, "You have to go in there and start a fight. You have to go in there and tell Vince McMahon that you're going to fight him, because if you don't, you're going to get buried and you're nothing. If you don't go back in the airplane right now and tell Vince McMahon you're going to fight him right the fuck now, your career is done. And Kofi Kingston went back in there and was like, okay, old man, what do you think? And tried to throw down with Vince. However many years or whatever later, Kofi Mania. Vince does operate like that. And that's a story straight out from the Jericho book. He told think about how crazy that is. Like how crazy the wrestling world is. Like we all have straight jobs. Could you imagine? It'd be like Brian Resner. You need to go back in there and tell your manager you're going to kick his fucking ass. And if you don't, you're going to lose your job.
Sometimes I do have to do that. You don't know what I do for a living.
Right.
Adam goes into the
managers I've had to beat up. You don't know that.
Adam goes to the lead NPR guy. Like Adam, if you don't go kick Terry Gross's ass, you're going to lose your fucking job.
No, you need if you don't punch Kathy Mattea right in the face right now, you're out of a job. See, I keep up. I would have said Larry Gross, but I keep up with you, my friend.
Yeah, we better leave her out of this.
Who is next on this list?
Oni
man,
Lorcan,
there's
somebody
so
that I
many.
like.
Oni Lorcan is on there. Yeah, he had a good tag match team with Paul Birch, not Paul Birch, who seems to still be around.
Danny Birch. You're thinking of Paul Burchill.
Yeah.
But although
he's also still fired.
Like Oni Lorcan coming down like as a pirate would have been cool too.
Hey, listen, Paul Burchill. Wait, since you brought him up, you said Paul Birch, which came to Paul Burchill, and we have to say that his finishing maneuver was great.
What was it?
It was
Who the fuck knows what Paul Burchill's finisher is?
It was a flipping rock bottom. A backflip rock bottom was his finisher, and that was awesome. And how weird was it that everybody wanted to make his gimmick that he was incest with his sister? That is a Vince McMahon right there. Why would you do that?
Because Vince McMahon is a hillbilly deep down.
I think that Vince McMahon might be a stoner down deep, because it's like sometimes to me it's just like, you know what, man? We should fuck with him.
I thank God you said that, because I was like, sometimes kind of want to fuck my sister. That's where I thought you were going with that for a second. So I'm glad you clarified.
Remember, he was the one that wanted to do an incest fucking angle with Stephanie.
Yeah, he did.
Has that officially been confirmed?
That's officially confirmed. I mean, it's been talked about enough that it seems like it's a thing.
About enough.
So who's next?
Shouldn't be spread that kind of thing. I think we should talk about some of the ladies. I mean, there's several on here. One of which I think is surprising is BFAB, who we were just talking about is a part of Hit Row, and they've been a part of they just got called up to SmackDown. They were cutting promos, if I remember right, just a week ago or 2 weeks ago, and no more BFAB.
No more BFAB. So how is that going to affect Hit Row? As if the angle wasn't terrible enough. Now they
were already pretty watered down. You think?
Yeah.
Like too many people in the group already. Nah,
I don't think that. Focus. I think every good faction, and not every good faction, but I think a faction needs one of everything. You have the big guy, you have the star, you have the cruiserweight, and if you can get a chick in there, then it rounds out everything. Mm-hmm. And I didn't see anything wrong with her.
Yeah.
No. Spoiler, I haven't watched wrestling in like a year. I'm just watching clips on like Twitter. So take my word as a grain of salt.
She was a big part of the very first NXT that we did do a review on.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And they got called up to SmackDown.
And I was not impressed with anything that went on that first NXT 2.0.
Well, NXT has been a goddamn nosedive ever since it started with the 2.0 shit. I watched last night and I was like, I cannot believe that this is what they're airing. It's like the dumb clip that you would see on Raw, like the dumb segment, and then they just did that over and over and over and over again. It's one of the things we talk about, how something will happen in wrestling and it makes you embarrassed to be a wrestling fan. Mm-hmm. This whole show happened and it made me embarrassed to be a wrestling fan while I watched it. There was even a dance contest between two tribes. It was just
let's get back on our list, because there's
who else?
There's Jessie Kamea. Does anybody know her? I've seen that name. I think she's been on some wrestling cards, but
she was there for a cup of coffee apparently, because I do not know who she is.
Yeah, same with
cream.
Same with Zeta Ramirez, or Ramir. See, some of these I don't even know. So unfortunately, like they didn't have time to become familiar with some of us. Jeet Rama is a Indian wrestler who appeared, when they first started doing the thing overseas. It looks like they had him debut in New Delhi, India in January of 2016. And so he's been around a little while, but, again, that hasn't taken off. Grand Metalik, somebody, not a real surprise. I think I saw one of the members of Lucha House Party on AEW the other night. Is that
Kalisto.
right? Yeah,
Kalisto.
Yeah.
I forget his new name, but yeah.
I wonder if Grand Metalik will find his way that way, or if he will find his way to Mexico.
Man, that's
Lindsay Dorado is another one. That was
Dorado talk about is AEW can't just keep getting everything. They just can't keep getting wrestlers.
That's right.
They totally can. Tony Khan is a billionaire. Yes, they can totally get anything they want.
There's only so many hours of TV.
There's only so many hours.
Doesn't matter. He can totally hire everybody that Vince McMahon fires and still be good. This. His money supply allows that.
The timing
he said that.
He did say that, but the timing of this with Ring of Honor releasing everybody's contracts is wild to me, because it's just like the floodgates are open with all this talent, and you're like, well, where can they go? Like we all want to see Bray or whatever do something big, but
can you imagine getting that phone call? You're Keith Lee. Let's talk about Keith Lee.
Man, let's get to the one fucking guy on this cross.
Yeah.
Man, I'll be honest. Karrion Cross did nothing for me. I thought Karrion Cross was just a guy.
Well,
Keith Lee is the whole ball game on this list.
You know why you thought Karrion Cross was just a guy? Because all you're exposed to is what Karrion Cross has done in the WWE. When you look at Karrion Cross, you look at Killer Cross and Impact, you look at any of that stuff, anything that he done before the WWE, and you will see why people really expected big things from Karrion Cross in the WWE, and how he could have been capable of doing really big things. If you just seen him in the WWE, no shit, I guarantee you think he sucks, but he doesn't suck. And Keith Lee is another one.
I didn't say he sucked. I just said that he was just another guy to me. I didn't say he sucked at all.
Okay, so you're Keith Lee, and you get this phone call that you are being released at this time, just like you were saying, Matt Mullins, with all these indie talent. The best of the indie talent, which was always at ROH, is now released and into the floodgates of getting a job, and then you get released behind them.
That's what I'm saying, man. There's a flood of wrestlers.
Everybody's worried about being buried in the mix because there's so many people in the sea. You can only rescue so many. Even if you're Tony Khan, even if you're Billy Corgan, even if you're Impact, you can't.
Yeah, in Keith Lee's position too. Like, I mean, his story of so many tryouts and failing, and that documentary that's on the network is awesome about him. And to now be released, man, it fucking sucks.
And you know what? Why would you change his name to Bearcat or whatever? Or
Bearcat was a historical name of a very famous black wrestler in the 60s and 70s.
Well, you know what? He's not Keith Lee. There was already a Bearcat apparently, and Keith Lee's not it. I just don't. I don't get it. That's another one of those things. It's like, hey, we're gonna take a bunch of old white guys and write some black culture shit. It just doesn't work.
But when he showed up in a tennis skirt, he was buried from day one.
Yeah, it's hard to come back from that. He had one of the best booked runs, I think, right? I mean, we can all agree on that. Like, there was a moment where he was like in Survivor Series up against Brock Lesnar, had an amazing Royal Rumble appearance, one of the best booked things in the last 10 years, as far as I'm concerned. And somehow it all got ruined. And Bearcat, I don't know if he was against that or not. Maybe he was into that. Maybe he wanted to do that. But here's where I go. My mind thinks like they were cutting bait. Like they invested all this money already in a repackaged new videos. And somebody on Twitter noted like the video game, like all that package, they've spent money investing on designing all those video games, like the cards that just came out, like they're already, half of them are out of date, because most of these guys have just been let go. And like Keith Lee Auto, what's the value of that going to be be right now? Is it going to go up or down with him getting released? We'll see.
Yeah, and
I think Wright was his name. Bearcat Wright.
Well, I think that all these. I know Scarlett has like a 30-day non-compete clause. Or is it Frankie?
They said that. Scarlett. I think they said Scarlett. Yeah, I think they did say.
I think it's Scarlett has a 30-day non-compete clause. So if she shows up in AEW, you know where Killer Cross is going to go.
Oh yeah,
and they'll probably let him be Killer Cross. So what I think is all these people's non-competes are going to come up in 90 days or less because all the Ring of Honor people, Danhausen, by the way, thoughts and prayers, thoughts and prayers, Hausen to Danhausen
and Mance Warner.
There is really, and Mance Warner, yes, as well, thoughts and prayers. But as far as like where you're going to go, there is no doubt in my mind that Danhausen will be on AEW.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Like Ring of Honor closing means we're going to see Danhausen on AEW. And I think there were so many signs in the crowd on Wednesday night. Get well soon, Hausen. Like, there was all these signs of like, oh, you can't deny that this is somebody that this audience wants to see.
Here's a conspiracy
Who do we want to talk most about? Nia Jax or Mia Yim?
Wait. I got one for Nia Jax.
Oh, go ahead.
I thought we were
talking about Nia Jax.
Well,
Stephen P. News not here. His favorite wrestler.
I know. Okay.
That's
so
right.
2 conspiracy theories. The first one is: did they get rid of these people so they could free up money so they could buy the Ring of Honor library? Because that Ring of Honor library is right now the most valuable piece of wrestling content out there because it's got CM Punk, it's got Samoa Joe, it's got Tyler Black, it's got Bryan Danielson. I mean, it has an embarrassment of wealth, an embarrassment of riches in that tape library, and WWE would probably want it.
It's everything they could never pull off.
It's that's my first conspiracy theory.
And for that reason, I don't think they want it. But go ahead. Sorry.
Then my second conspiracy theory is I think WWE was trying to decrease their insurance, their health insurance costs, and that's why they cut Nia Jax. Because now they don't have to worry about Nia Jax destroying and putting half the roster in the hospital. Let's think about it.
They did the numbers on Nia Jax.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Charlotte Flair they can afford Charlotte Flair to put somebody in the hospital, but Nia Jax puts multiple bitches in the hospital.
They turned around and found out she was a money gash, just bleeding money all over.
Bleeding money and premiums, son. Just premiums are through the roof with her. Now, what we need is to have Nia Jax go to AEW and then just let her fight.
Nia or Nyla Rose.
Nyla Rose.
And just let them destroy both of them because they both just hurt everybody.
Oh, no.
Because I think Nyla Rose just gave a concussion to Thunder Rosa. Did you all see that from Botchamania?
No.
Dude, it was the most
Don't do that
dangerous.
to Thunder Rosa.
I love
the most dangerous choke slam I have ever seen. Didn't do the move where you just kind of she tossed that bitch through the fucking ring and she was out. She was Dunsky. So she's just as dangerous. So they should have like a shoot fight between Nia Jax, Nyla Rose, and whoever wins gets the contract. That's the only thing that will. That's
whoever. I think Nia Jax might actually win that one.
Whoever wins gets to hurt the rest of the roster.
Yeah.
So here's a question. Adam brought up a good point about they invest money in Keith Lee and people like that, and then they're just cutting their losses. How much money have they invested in Eva Marie? They have put so much money into Eva Marie and then let her go again. And this woman is beautiful. You can't, if you could tell me that you can't figure out that this bitch is a valet and make her work for you.
I agree.
What do you mean? You can't make Eva, it blows
you
my
can say that
mind.
about Scarlett. That's 2 dime pieces just gone.
Yeah, just gone. Just gone.
But historically, Eva Marie, they put I thought that All Red Everything was a great deal. I mean, I thought that she would do something. Yeah. But
Once again, I think I wonder how many of these releases are thrown in as like personnel issues because she didn't get along the last time she was there. She didn't really learn She didn't get good. She, I think my personal thing, the last thing I'll say about this is that I think WWE is waiting for whoever Impact and AEW don't sign, and then they renegotiate their contracts because they're going through this like quarterly or whatever thing. Like, oh, here's the report. They can sign these people back, just renegotiated at a lower salary.
Here's a question I have: Why do you hire Harry Smith just to release him? And you didn't even do anything with him.
I honestly didn't know he had been signed. I missed that.
I had no idea he was even there.
And the reason why you had no idea is because they weren't utilizing his talent. And
so he can go to AEW and team back up with Lance Archer.
He could.
And reform a really good tag team.
That would work.
Yeah. And that's 100% true, and I hope he gets to do that. I hate to see Harry Smith not have a job. That guy should have been a famous wrestler a long time ago, and he just hasn't ever been able to have that platform. Except for in Japan.
Yeah, I mean he's over in Japan. The only other names that we've missed here is we've got Mia Yim,
who was good.
Mia
Never
Yim.
given a chance. Never given a chance.
She was good.
They put a mask on her face. Made him part of that horrible gimmick.
She also brings up another point. Mia Yim, Keith Lee, couple, gone. Karrion Cross, Scarlett Bordeaux, couple, gone. Frankie Monet.
Johnny Impact.
Is John Morrison going to be on the next
and we all have to agree that the most underutilized person on the WWE roster is John Morrison.
By far. There is no, I mean, really, a lot of people, and I'm one of them, think that AJ Styles is probably the most gifted professional wrestler that is active today.
For sure.
AJ Styles has been, in my opinion, he has been since he had the ROH World Heavyweight Championship. He has been the most important person in professional wrestling, in my opinion, as far as talent goes. I can't think of anybody who is, but I will tell you one person who has the same exact talent and at one time was doing the same exact moves better than AJ was John fucking Morrison.
Just not in the WWE. That's the thing. We saw his potential outside of the WWE. So when he came back, we were all like, oh shit, it's going to be awesome. And then they
he did really well in his first WWE.
Yeah, I agree. That was good. But him versus
when he was doing that stuff, when AJ was in Impact and he was just like, it was like, wow, this kid AJ Styles is really fucking good. But then you had John Morrison on WWE TV and you were like, wow, this guy's super good, especially when he broke away from Eminem and they were doing it was a really good run for him until he lost the position over the Batista Molina thing.
He was fantastic on Lucha Underground.
Oh,
he
man.
was Johnny Mundo.
Right.
Ooh, man, that match
what?
he had with Ricochet, and Ricochet who was he? Grand Puma?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Prince Puma.
Yeah.
Dude.
Well, and Derek Jones would probably say, but Killer Cross and John Morrison had a feud in Impact, I think, that was actually getting mocked when they were doing it on WWE because they were having like a talk show together. That was going to be the source of their beef.
You missed all of Johnny Impact's run. It was really exceptional, Mr. Barker. I know you're not an Impact guy, so you missed all that stuff.
Me neither.
It was awesome. I mean, they just don't utilize him the way that he should be utilized. Obviously, Vince McMahon told him he sucked one day, and he did not stand up for himself, I guess.
Apparently,
man, you got to try to fight the old man.
You got to fight him. If you don't fight him, then...
And that just shows you what kind of mind that Jericho does have. As much as I have been blasting him now for the last 8, 9, 10 months, and, with good reason, the man does understand how things work, and he understands Vince McMahon really, really well.
Okay, so... Go ahead.
I was going to say, and that proved it. Like Kofi went in there, and the thing is, Kofi also later verified this whole story.
Oh,
said
that's that was my question.
He
I was
did verify it. Yeah, yeah.
Is Chris Jericho becoming Hulk Hogan? Is he just lying about
That's
everything?
The thing about Jericho is, he does eat way too much and all of that, and his matches have been fucking terrible for the last
You know what?
long.
I thought Jericho looked pretty good on Wednesday. He didn't look like he had been throwing back the donuts. He was looking like he had lost some weight.
Fat shaming works. Fat shaming works.
Did you see? No bullshit. He ain't lost no weight. Because when he ran, when they all came out and his music hit and they all ran, everybody hit the ring. And then who's this guy trailing behind? Oh, that's Jericho. Of course it is.
He's probably telling them young whippersnappers.
You guys talk about Jericho like he's fucking Vince Neil, and he's not.
He is. Not. You just said it. Holy shit. He is Vince Neil. Oh,
this is a whole nother podcast.
Yeah. I don't agree.
He's an embarrassing shell of himself. He is an Go back and watch him as the cruiserweight champion in WCW when he was one of the best wrestlers in the world. And I'm not expecting him to be that shredded right now. But dude, Kurt Angle don't have fucking vertebrae and still don't look like that. And he's older and has way more injuries on him.
Well, Kurt Angle is also sober at the moment, so give Jericho a break. All right, look, I will give.
So you're saying that Chris Jericho's
credit.
Not sober, is what you're saying?
No, he's not.
No, probably not.
No, he's not. At this moment, he's probably not.
He's got bloated old man drunk face, is what he's got. He's got bloated old man drunk face.
Well, I am not drunk shaming at all. I am not drunk shaming at all, people. I'm just saying he's a 50-something-year-old man who drinks a shit ton of vodka. It's going to catch up to you.
Goldberg's 54.
Does he drink as much as Jericho?
But he still looks great and had a great match in Saudi Arabia.
All right. But I will give Jericho credit for the fact that he is able to transcend in the fact that he can turn from heel to face and people always go along with it. Right?
I mean, dude, he's on my Mount Rushmore. You know what I mean? So I love him.
He's a babyface now. People love him. People booed him months ago.
If he's on your Mount Rushmore, then you shouldn't be so goddamn disrespectful.
No. Have some dignity and just retire if you're not going to fucking take care of your shit.
I don't want him to retire. I want to see more Inner Circle.
You want to see more Dinner Circle? Yeah. Really? That's what you want to see more of?
He's the new Hulk Hogan.
His ego boosting. And did you see that fucking picture of his shirt where it's him and Orange Cassidy? You know what he's turning into? That guy that still dates the girl from high school that's waiting when you leave high school. And he's and he still talks about when he played football back in the day when he was really good. And he's way too old for the girl that he's dating. That's who Chris Jericho is now. He's just trying to find whoever's cool and he's going to get in on it. Why the fuck
same age.
Would and I said, that's it.
All right,
Chris Jericho has a shirt now with Orange Cassidy, who's hot as shit and is relevant. And he's trying to hold on to relevance. It would be like if Vince Neil was going to go sing for Greta Van Fleet. He was like, I'm irrelevant, but this band is relevant, so I'm going to fucking sing for them. That's what Chris Jericho is right now, and it's a fucking bummer.
Can you imagine if those guys from Greta Van Fleet seen that happen? They'd be like, no.
Fuck out of here, drunk dad. Looking at my drunk uncle.
We just need a celebrity boxing match between... I want a 3-way celebrity boxing match between Chris Jericho, Vince Neil, and Sebastian Bach.
Oh, Sebastian Bach will kick their asses.
No.
Well,
man. He's got reach, man. He's 6'7".
He's got reach.
All right. So anyway, I don't know why we got talking about Jericho for
because he's the GOAT.
6-7
the GOAT and he's disappointing us all.
He's not disappointing me. I love Chris Jericho. I don't care. I don't care what's going on. I don't care.
Did you watch the match with Juventud? Did you watch that match?
Hey, Juventud. That was Juvi's fault. I've seen some great matches with Chris Jericho, and the Juventud match sucked, so it must have been Juventud's fault. Had to have been. Couldn't have been
Wrap this shit up, Brian.
Yeah, that's what we need to do. A lot of people have lost their jobs today, and we get to sit around and talk about it. I am not releasing any of you guys, just so you know. Just so that you understand. I value you very much, and I will not.
No future endeavors here.
Ladies and gentlemen, do not forget that we are going to be at WrestleCade this year. That is right. We are hosting the TNA panel on Sunday morning, and we are going to be checking in with Fight TV all weekend. So you can catch us, the House of Kayfabe, at WrestleCade. We will see you next time right here on House of Kayfabe.